Let's begin with a long tail cast on. So we'll start with our tail, and we're gonna leave a tail that's a little longer than normal for this particular cast on. We're gonna do a slip knot. So wrap your yarn around your fingers and pull the yarn through to create that little slip knot. There it is. Then I'm gonna use my brand new needle, yay! So get that slip knot onto the needle, and that counts as stitch number 1. And then using the long tail method, I'm going to cast on 9 stitches. So that's number 1. Here's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Tail is nice and long. That is what I wanted. I'm going to turn and work my setup row. So the setup row is worked with purl stitches. So I'm going to follow that instruction, which is purl 4. So purl 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then I need to place a marker. So I'm grabbing a little stitch marker, putting that on. I'm going to purl 1 stitch. I'm going to place another marker. And then I'm going to purl to the end of this row. So that is my setup row. I know the tail is in the way. We're only gonna have it there for a few rows, so just don't knit with it and you'll be fine. So let's begin row number 1. So row number 1, we're gonna repeat a 2-row sequence 3 different times, but row 1 is knit 2. So there's knit 1, knit 2. Now I'm gonna knit front and back, which is increasing a stitch. I will knit to my marker, just 1 stitch away. And now I'm going to make one right. And to make one right, I'm going to pick up the yarn below and put it on my needle so that it's pointing to the right. You see how this yarn leans to the right? That's a make one right. And when I knit into the front of that, that is going to do an increase, make one right. So I'm going in like this, wrapping around and pulling through, and that makes a right leaning increase. Slip 1, knit 1. That's going to be my center stitch. Slip 1. Now I need to make one left. And to make one left, I take that bar, put it onto my left hand needle so it's leaning to the left. And then I'm going to knit into the back of it. So knitting into the back of it, that's how I get into that back of that loop. And then yarn through there to complete that stitch. That's a make one left. Now I'm knitting to the last 4 stitches, which we are at already in this case. So then I knit front and back, and then knit 3. So that is row 1. Row 2 is the wrong side row, which essentially is knit 3, purl to the other end, right now, slipping into the last 3 stitches, and then knit those last 3. So I'm going to knit 3 stitches, bring my yarn to the front, and when I go from knit to purl, I like to give a little tug. Here we go, purling to the marker, slipping the marker, purling 1, slipping another marker, and then I'm going to purl to the last 3 stitches, which is here. go to the last 3. So that's row 1 and 2 repeated once. So we're going to do that 2 more times to complete this first little tiny section for our first day. And when we're done, I will show you what it looks like. We'll have 21 stitches on the needle. We now have 21 stitches on our needle, and what I want to do now is close up this little cast on bit, and we're going to fold this together and just use a bit of mattress stitch to do that. So I'm going to take my yarn tail and thread it onto a tapestry needle so I can do some mattress stitch. With the right side of my work facing, my tail is already connected to this side here, so I'm going to go on over here and grab a stitch. And now I'm going to go under a stitch on each side from the right side. And then under the next stitch. And under this one here. And when I'm pulling this tight, I want to make sure that I'm pulling the first loops tight and secure first. So 2 of those, looks like it's enough. I know that my center stitch is right here. I can see that that's where my center stitch is, so I'm just gonna sneak on back to the back with this yarn tail, and we'll weave that in. But that is the beginning of our little shawl. So there's our tiny, tiny shawl. That's the beginning, and I will see you in the morning.